I'm Libby Gibson, Town Manager. Welcome to What's Going On in Town Government. We had a pretty long meeting this week. Longer than usual.
Long?
Yeah,
I mean,
don't you think?
I stayed 4 hours.
I know, that was highly unusual for you. But you couldn't tear yourself away.
And
Could you?
and it's coming.
We'll get into it. All right, so here's what happened. It's National Police Week, beginning the 12th through the 18th is National Police Week. So we did a proclamation about that. We had some announcements about road work, which are ongoing announcements, when it's happening, what's been done so far, what is yet to be done, things like that. We've had some weather delays. So there's been, there's still some road work that's happening now that's not done yet, primarily because of the weather, but we're trying to really get at it. Okay, we also, let's see here, Lucky's.
Oh, what's
Lucky's surrendered its liquor license. They had an annual wine and malt package store license, and they have turned it in.
Why?
So I don't really know, but they're doing something else.
They're not even open, are they?
No, I don't think so. They're going to do something else. All right, we had a pretty long discussion about the solid waste stream separation program. I don't think we have time to get into the whole thing.
We have to get into a little of it.
But we can get into a little bit of it. So there's an effort by the town to get into a routine with people where there's less material that doesn't compost well or at all into the composter. So we started over the winter asking people to separate out their, what we now are calling NERNIC, which is non-recyclable, non-compostable material. It is things like, well, I should have my chart with me. There's a chart online, but it's things like chip bags, plastic film plastic, like the plastic covering on meat, on all that sort of thing, coverings over those like styrofoam vegetable containers.
All right, stuff that you can get at the grocery store that doesn't recycle.
Correct.
All right.
Or compost. So
we're not talking like big plastic items, like your phone here, for instance.
No, we're not talking about that. That's a whole different thing.
All right.
Let's not even go down that road right now. But anyway, so we're trying to get people to do that, and those things go into the C&D area, construction and demolition debris.
Interesting.
So anyway, the idea is to get the compost to be of much higher quality and to separate, because what happens is that this material that gets its way into the composter now doesn't entirely break down, and it leaves residuals which have to be separated out and baled and stored in a lined landfill cell. There is a discussion about shipping that waste off island. It is extremely costly to do that. That doesn't mean we shouldn't consider it, and we are definitely going to be taking it into consideration going forward, because there's a couple of arguments here. Shipping the waste off, and it's not so easy as, even if we had the money, let's just ship it off. You have to find out where you're going to ship it to. There are, growing reductions in where you can ship off this material for a whole variety of global and national reasons. Again, we'd be here all day if we were going to get into that. So the haulers came in and at our meeting and talked about the difficulties that they operationally believe they faced with this more detailed, I guess you would call NERNIC separation. And their basic idea is just ship everything off. And again, it is just not that simple. So long story short, I think what we're going to do is really try to work with them more detailed and have them work with us more detailed so we can both understand each other's operational issues and try to come up with some program. That works better for everybody.
All right, but aren't they doing okay anyway? I mean, do they need more business? The shippers, these haulers? I mean, they're not.
Well, this has nothing to do.
Nothing's going to affect their hauling business as it is now, right?
No.
So by
It's
doing it differently, which would mean that we would. I mean, some people want to ship everything out of here, right?
Yes.
Take it like Martha's Vineyard does, right?
Yeah.
Get rid of it all and put it somewhere else where somebody else can deal with it. We don't have to.
Right.
Okay. That would be a benefit to them, wouldn't it? Because aren't they responsible for taking it off island as well?
No.
They're
No.
not.
No.
All right, so we got to get that cleared up.
The town is responsible for that. The haulers just take the material to the landfill.
So
Then it's the town's problem.
Their issue is that they don't, the sorting becomes more expensive for them? Well, I'm a little confused.
I think that on the trash trucks, they have modified them so that they can take the materials as separated now, household waste and recyclables basically, and then there's a bit of a divide up of the recyclables. And they are saying they only have a certain amount of room on their truck to now deal with the Nernick that would be potentially in a separate bag or container.
It seems like the Nernick stuff would be small. I mean, it doesn't sound like it would be.
Well, Gino, if you are separating out your Nernick right now, like I am, for example,
what do you find?
You'd be surprised at how much it is. Now, I haven't really come up with a great
God, this is good.
method of my own in my house, but I have a separate bag for it now, and I put it in there, and it's a lot.
Well, here's we won't stay too long.
Okay, hold on. Let me just say one thing. It's a lot separated out. However, overall, there's no change. It's the same amount of material. It's just separated differently.
One thing they didn't talk about was the technology and what's changing. It is coming. Soon that Nernick stuff will be biodegradable. It will have to be.
Yeah, I hope so.
I mean, in 5 years, I would say within 5 years, you're going to see a complete revolution on how we package things.
I really hope so, because it's a
major problem.
It's not just our problem. It is a worldwide problem.
It is a
serious problem.
I mean, when you look at the environment and what we're doing to it at this,
It's really scary.
Turn to make it better.
I know, it's really scary. So we had a lot of discussion about this,
All right.
and more. Stay tuned, because this is not the end of it. Then we had the dog hearings.
The dogs.
So I hope I can remember all this, because sometimes when it starts getting late, people's
help
memories get fuzzy and
Yeah.
you don't remember things very well. But basically, we had 3 hearings. 2 of them related to 2 dogs owned by one person, the same person. And then there was a 3rd dog owned by somebody entirely differently. So basically, the first 2 dogs had been involved in a number of incidents that involved biting other dogs and injuring livestock and scaring people. Consistently
And there were so
over a
many
period
people.
of time.
I was surprised at how many people came in.
There were a lot of people there to
the
speak
owner.
against the owner. Yes, there were a lot of people. And so the owner had a chance to speak, and we went through this. There's a pretty specific hearing process. And in the end, the dogs basically were confined to their own property. That is pretty much the end result. There was a little bit of confusion at the end as to, because of the way this condition was worded, as to whether or not they're allowed on private property. And we need to probably clear this up, but I think the intent was that the dogs are not allowed to roam within the town. That's not town government-owned property. That is the town, just like the leash law applies to the confines of the town of Nantucket. And as a result, they can only be on their own property. But it got a bit confusing at the end, and it was late.
He wanted to be able to take them to his job.
He wanted to be able to take them to his office, and that wasn't allowed, but that wasn't allowed.
I thought it was.
No.
Okay. Well, anyway.
But it was a bit confusing. It was a bit confusing. He can take them to the vet.
Yeah, he can take them to the vet.
That's about it.
But God forbid those dogs get out and do it again. I mean, it sounded to me like this is your final warning.
Yeah, it did sound very much like that.
And they'll
Final warning.
euthanize the dogs.
Well, that's the nuclear option,
Yeah.
pretty
Boy,
much.
that would be terrible.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
so there was lots of
Okay,
discussion
that
about this. It was it was emotional for a lot of people.
I was surprised at how many people actually came and really spoke.
Yeah,
I mean, they took it very seriously.
very, and they all had some interaction.
But it also made me think about how serious we take issues you know, because, you know, we go to these meetings every week.
Yes.
And how
doesn't
important
usually
this
get
one
like
seemed
that.
to be.
Yeah, yeah.
When something else that we should be focusing on doesn't seem to be as important.
Well, yes, Gino, I hear you.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's kind of this human thing.
So
Anyway, the next one.
So the other dog had killed a lot of livestock from a particular place, more than one time. And that dog basically was, I think that dog
The
was...
owner wasn't there.
The owner was not there, that's right.
That was
And so there was some discussion about whether or not we should even have the hearing at all because the owner wasn't there. However, the victims were there and they really wanted it to proceed. So the board basically said, we're going to impose these conditions, but we're going to hear it again, basically, or discuss it again when the owner can be here, which I think is in 2 weeks. So meanwhile, the dog is supposed to be confined to its house.
And then in 2 weeks, we're going to hear it again.
Yep.
So stay tuned.
So I hope that dog doesn't get out either, because that was
That's another one.
pretty bad, what happened
These
with
dogs
the
all of a
livestock.
sudden.
I know.
Well, I don't remember ever this happening, where,
You know what, Gino, it happens every now and then. This is probably my, I don't know, in
30 years?
a number of years with the
How
town.
many years have you been doing this? 25?
more,
30? More than 30?
something around there. I've
Well, I've been
probably...
doing the TV thing for 30, and I don't
Yeah,
remember
Gino.
this. I mean,
I've probably sat through maybe half a dozen dog
Okay.
hearings. Not a ton.
Right.
They're not that often. Anyway, so it happens every now and then. And I noticed that there was an editorial in the paper about the leash law.
I'll have to
So
look
there's
at
going to
that.
be, what'll happen is, this just happens. This isn't the only thing it happens with. There's going to be this flurry of attention on people having their dogs on leashes, and eventually it'll the attention will lessen and lessen, and we'll be back to where we
Exactly.
are now. Anyway, a few bad apples ruin the bunch, right? That's
Yeah.
a saying, and
Yeah.
that's what happens here.
Oh, yeah,
You let,
yeah.
I think
Exactly.
we know where that can
I
go.
think people are aware of that. I mean, could you imagine not being able to walk along the beach sometime when there's nobody around with
No,
your dog?
and you have to have your dog on a leash?
I mean, that's,
No.
what are you living, if
Right.
you have a dog, what's
Yeah,
the sense of having one?
I 100% agree. Now, but I also agree, you have to use some common sense about it. If somebody's
yeah.
coming, and like I don't want to,
You have a dog.
my dog will bark every now and then at somebody coming, and it's not, she just wants to say, don't mess with me. But if I see somebody coming, I just put her on a leash.
Right.
And it's a lot of times, the vast majority of the time, the other person does not do that. And occasionally, I don't do it either. It's hard to do it every single time if you're in a place where there's a lot of dogs. But the best thing to do is when you see the other dog coming, just put your dog on a leash.
Yeah, and I mean, dogs are gonna do what dogs do. They're
I know.
gonna fight each other
And there's
sometimes.
and people who have dogs need to understand that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but the attacking and biting and things like that are
And
totally different.
consistently doing it when you've been told over and over again to do
Right,
something
and
about it.
exactly. And so don't mess it up for everybody else. All right, so that was our meeting this week. Next week is Public Hearing Wednesday, and right now we have a couple public hearings. There's a telephone petition, there's a couple of liquor license items, and we're going to be, our health insurance consultant will be here. I know people can't wait to hear what the health insurance consultant has to say, but he comes and gives us an annual update about the town's health insurance program, trends, how we're doing, what the rate increases are likely to be, what our experience has been, that kind of thing. So
Yeah,
he's going to come and
He
do
doesn't
that.
talk about the health of the town employees, though, in general, does he?
No,
Okay.
no, he doesn't. Should
Just
he?
curious.
No,
I don't know.
no, he doesn't talk about that. What did I write down here?
You know,
I
like,
don't know
your
what I wrote
town
down.
is healthier than Barnstable. You guys are
We
healthier
don't really
because-
get into that level of reporting at this meeting. This is more the money. This
Yeah, of
isn't really
course.
about the
This is
actual
something.
health.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so today at noontime, we have a meeting with the Cape and Islands Selectmen's Association at the Brotherhood. And so this group has a monthly meeting in a different town every month. It's hard for us to get over to the Cape because the meetings are generally very early, like at 7:30 in the morning. It's just hard to get over. We try to get there when we can if there's a particularly good topic. So between myself and the board members, really it's their association, not mine. So I'm not really supposed to go by myself. It's supposed to be with a board member or two. And but they don't discourage the town managers from coming. Anyway, we try to get off to these meetings 2 or 3 times a year or more if we can. Anyway, they are coming here today. So the steamship has been kind enough to give them free passage. They're going to have a tour of the landfill, and then we're going to have a luncheon at the Brotherhood at noon.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so that'll be great.
I was just out there at they're waiting for you.
They are?
I think so.
Where, at the landfill?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, I'm not actually going on the tour, but...
Oh, okay.
Okay, Monday, the 13th, we have a joint select board finance committee meeting, and we're going to be talking about town meeting, how it went this year. Should we change anything? Should we clarify anything? What are some next steps? Things like that. And then the meeting next week. And I want to mention, I'm going to be mentioning this probably weekly, but if you have an opinion about the stop signs on Surfside Road at Bartlett, we have a public hearing on June 5th. And that would be the time to come in with your opinions, or you can certainly email townmanager@nantucket-ma.gov, and we are compiling input.
I noticed we were filming the softball game at around 5:30.
Oh, yeah. What was it like?
Boy, was that backed up.
That's what I hear. I don't...
At that hour.
I'm not, yeah.
Yeah, that it has caused some backup going the other way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm hearing that.
during the day, it's fine.
Yeah, that's sort of what it seems like.
Yeah.
Anyway, so June 5th.
Okay.
We went to went to Cape Cod Managers meeting yesterday, so that's the Managers Association, and we meet in a different town every month as well. We met in Mashpee yesterday. We had a rep from Department of Revenue there, Division of Local Services, who was talking about the short-term rental tax and how it impacts
when does that start?
towns. Well, it's started. It's
This is the year.
This is the year. You need
Expect
to
pay to be taxed.
Yeah, there were some deadlines that had recently changed. I didn't really catch them all, what she said, because this is entirely regulated by the state, and then the towns eventually get the revenue from it.
Oh, I see.
But if you are a renter, you need to register with the Department of Revenue, and there are updated FAQs on their website.
You mean if you're renting your place?
If you're renting your
Yeah, I
place.
see.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, not if you're renting a place.
Got it.
So we talked about that, and there was a bit of talk about town meetings, and town meeting season is pretty much winding up now across the state. Our town meeting is on the early side, the very beginning of April. A lot of towns have their town meetings at the beginning of May. So that's all just wrapping up right now. Anyway,
By the
it's
way,
pretty
what is
interesting.
the percentage on those, on the tax? that we
Well, it
expect to
depends.
pay?
It depends on what your town has in place already. So, for example, we have a 6%
It is 6%.
room occupancy tax, and that is now expanded to short-term rentals. So it's just automatically goes over and covers the short-term rentals.
What is
And
short term? Like,
There's definitions. I think it's basically 30 days or less, but there are a number of exemptions, and if you have questions about this, I urge you to go to the DOR website and search short-term rental tax. Probably that's a search word, and get to their FAQs, because they're really, really pretty helpful.
okay.
Okay, that's it for now. See you next time.